Right, okay, we're going for it? All right, let's do this. Right, Lloyd Brown, Rhythm Works Productions, producers, the art of producing. Working title, Take 1. Greetings, one and all. This is Lloyd Brown. Welcome to my world. Welcome to my world. Ah, won't you come on in? Jim Reeves, man. You got to big up Jim Reeves, man. Jim Reeves used to rock out every Sunday in my house. Don't go on like I'm lying. Don't go on like I'm lying. He used to rock out in every West Indian household on a Sunday. Believe that. Yeah. Jim Reeves, man. Anyway, welcome to my world. Welcome to my living room. Welcome to MySpace. Remember MySpace? Wow. MySpace seems like an age ago, man. And I'll just go into tangents here and there. But welcome to MySpace, that is Rhythm Works Productions. My living room, my front room. I'm just keeping it real, man. I'm not trying to give you an air of mystery anymore. I don't need to. So here it is. Rhythm Works Productions. This is where I record my albums. It's been established since 2006. And I'm in the 11th year of production, producing my own albums. Now, as you can see, it's very rustic. I got VHS cassettes holding up my Tannoy actives. I got VHS cassettes holding up my keyboard. My old bedroom TV as a monitor. But I still got the other little monitor on the other side. Oh, I just bounced the mic. I just got my little monitor right here. You know, so the equilibrium is not that great at the minute in terms of visuals, but it suits me. Now, the reason why I'm kind of going long-winded is to actually celebrate the role of the producer. I want to celebrate the role of the producer because too much time we see a lot of emphasis on the singers, a whole heap of emphasis on the DJs then, but none really on the producer. And I have to big up, you know, people who make documentaries and actually go out and link up the producers that are maintaining the craft of producing music, whether it be reggae, rock, otherwise. I'm a sucker for music documentaries. I watch them all day long, all week long, all year long, especially on Netflix. You know what I mean? So I like to see how certain iconic albums, seminal albums were made and who helped to basically make them. I watched David Bowie's 5 years documentary, the 5 years when he was up to making the Young Americans album, and the last 5 years where he was making Black Star, and both very interesting documentaries. I highly recommend that you watch them if you're that way inclined. But anyway, I just want to talk about the role of a producer and hopefully give you an insight to what a producer does. Now, there's two types of producers, okay? No, in fact, let me rewind. I want to talk about the equipment, like I just stated. The equipment is pretty much basic for me, right? Now, this is going to be hard to believe, but I need you to believe this, okay? I still use Cubase. I'm a PC guy. I'm not an Apple guy. But that's not to say that, you know, I don't like Apple or I hate Apple. You know, people use what they use. And that's all there is to it. Do you know what I'm saying? You know, I'm not in the whole computer war thing and Apple versus PC. That's a lot of BS. And for me, it's not about that. It's about letting the resources work for you if that's all you have. Do you know what I'm saying? So whether you are a small time producer, mid-range producer, or a top-range producer, you know, if it works for you, it works for you. But I'm kind of just letting the public know what is the concept. Well, not so much the concept. What is the role of a producer? Because you can hear tunes and say, yeah, that's a nice tune, it's a nice beat and this and that and yada, yada, yada. But actually knowing how the stuff is put together often escapes you, because by the time it gets to the DJs, you know, the DJ's probably got couple of specials on that rhythm and what have you, which is all good. It's all good. But here's the thing, and this might split opinions where DJs are concerned, but this is what it is from my point of view. You can take it or leave it. I don't business, right? The role of a DJ, right, is being a part of the chain, being a link on the chain that keeps the whole music industry strong, right? Now, in doing so, this is the practical element of what a DJ does. All a DJ does, and I'm not saying it to belittle a DJ, but all a DJ does is collate data. That's what a DJ does. He gets a Beres here, he gets a Sugar Minott there, he gets a Dennis Brown there, he gets Bitty McLean there. Who knows, he might even get a Lloyd Brown from down there, right? He can get all of that. You know, the internet can do all of that easy. But the thing is, what separates great DJs from mediocre DJs is that the great DJs learns how to shuffle the pack and learns how to deal the pack in a way where everybody gets a winning hand. Everybody who listens to his selection gets the winning hand. But you have some DJs that listen to other DJs, especially in Jamaica and New York, where some of those DJs, I'm not saying all, but some of those DJs get paid to play the songs. And the DJs who are listening to those DJs don't know that. So they're probably thinking, well, these songs, if they're playing it, these songs are the boom. And then they follow their example, and plays the same songs that those other DJs are basically playing. But all they are doing is perpetrating the myth that some of these songs that they're basically playing are good, and half of those songs are not even mastered. Some of these people don't even know what the concept of mastering is. You know what I mean? But that's another video for another time. But coming back down to producers, whatever level that you are, celebrate that. DJs, keep doing what you're doing. You know, some DJs, you just need to basically just learn your craft a little bit more and just feed the people the music. You know what I'm saying? Just feed the people the music. Feed the people your vibe. You know, shuffle the pack and give them your vibe, your take of what the music gives to you. So in order for you to give to the public, don't play the same thing Joe Bloggs played, because that's his vibe. When you're playing another man's vibe, you're just basically sucking the blood out of him like a mosquito. I'm sorry, that's what it is. That's how I see it, right? As a creator. So anyway, DJs, producers, celebrate your craft. I'm celebrating your craft, but I'm keeping it real as to what your craft is. Disagree or agree, it's up to you. Okay, now, next thing I want to talk about is producers. I want to specifically talk about producers at this point. And I need to debunk a myth of producers. Now, some people walk around basically claiming that they are producers, right? Now, you have producers and you have executive producers. Now, producers, from my standpoint, are the people that will listen to an artist and not so much mold the artist, but to enhance of what the artist has already. So, for example, if you have a singer like Frankie Paul, let's say, for example, right? And most of his repertoire was basically recorded on jammies. And as much as I liked Jammy's production back in the day, for me, it's not working in 2017 unless you put a little something on top of that. So for Frankie Paul to come in and basically work with me, I just listen to his voice. I listen to his voice and I hear his melodies, and I'm just going to basically put my take on what Frankie Paul sounds like to me. And in doing so, I put program drums or live drums and put live guitars and put, you know, everything that embellishes the voice. That's what a producer does, okay? An executive producer is somebody that has the money to bankroll the project. So for example, I'm recording an album. I ain't got no money. I don't have no money to bring in Bitty McLean or Don Campbell or Peter Hunningale or Tipper Irie to come and record for me, because I have to pay them in order to record. So if I don't have the money to pay them, but I need an executive producer to produce the thing, somebody would come and bankroll the production, and that would deem them as an executive producer. So if you look on film credits and stuff like that and you see executive producer such and such, those are the people that actually help to bankroll the project. And in some projects you have as many executive producers as you like, you know, there's no limit. But as long as they're basically bankrolling the project, that's what the role of an executive producer is. Is there anything else? Oh yeah, the one important thing I missed out, which is going to be part 2 of this video, is actually how I produce. I want to give you just a quick insight as to how I construct the vibe that I get and how I construct a composition in order for it to go on road and hopefully get played and be appreciated, loved by the masses all over the world. So stay tuned for that. Welcome forward. Now, as you notice, there's a bit of a humming going on, and that is simply because of me firing up the computer and a massive, huge fan in the computer doing what it's supposed to do. And I love that sound. It might sound a bit irritating to you. Sorry, me no business. I love that sound. Why I love that sound is simply because if I don't hear that sound, that means the fan's not doing its job. And if the fan's not doing its job, then the risk of the motherboard burning up is really, really high. So as long as I hear that, I'm happy. Open that thing up, vacuum clean it out, using a thin nozzle, get all the dirt out of that periodically, proper MOT, it's done, it's sorted. Like I said, I'm using what works for me. If it's not broke, I'm not trying to fix it. Simple as. Okay, and before I even go any further, talking about producers again, and I have to, you know, big up a couple of people. I want to big up people like Lloyd Campbell, Willie Lindo, Bubblers, Delroy Murray, who else? Ribs from Unity, David Goldfein, Jadi from Zion I Productions. I want to big up all the producers that I worked with. If I've missed you out, I'm sorry, but I'm just trying to run this thing live, you know, and keep it constant and keep it flowing. So if I've missed you out, it's not intentional. I'm just trying to draw names up here. But I just want to big up all of those producers. But there's one producer that I want to big up the most. And he undoubtedly influenced my whole career in terms of how I produce my music. From the time I met him until we finished the second album we recorded and produced together. And I have to big up Bitty McLean. I've got a big Bitty McLean up because watching that guy work. Now, as you know, Bitty basically worked on a couple of UB40 albums. He had a couple of hits of his own in the national charts. Well, If It's Raining, It's Raining, and those tracks that he released. But a unique thing that I liked about Bitty, and still do, is the way he approaches producing, because he's an engineer, you know what I mean? So he knows what he wants to hear, and his engineering skills are second to none, man. But it was his role as a producer, and me watching him and me soaking in all of what he had learnt in his career and his craft, and him unwittingly passing it on to me, you know what I mean? He just done his thing, but I just watched and took mental notes of what he was doing, and that changed my life forever. So Bitty, if you're watching, brethren, I want to big you up, star. Thank you, man. You taught me more about producing in my career than any other producer, and I'm not belittling them either. They all helped, but I have to say, Bitty with Against the Grain and Deep, that was a masterclass. Those were masterclasses in production skills for me, and I've never looked back from that. So thank you very much. I'm gonna sneeze. Oh dear. Don't know what it is, man. It's like all of a sudden it's just getting cold. Anyway, that is why I'm wearing a onesie. Yes, I'm wearing a onesie. I don't business. You know what I mean? This is my yard. I feel comfortable wearing a onesie. If I'm mixing, whatever I'm doing in terms of my work, I need to feel comfortable. I don't need no belt chafing my waist and no starch on my neck. Don't want that. I want to feel comfortable. So, yeah. I'm a grown-ass man wearing a onesie. Deal with it. Right, so here we are. We're at a project, and it's a project that you know because it's released now. So I'm just going to give you an insight as to how I get a vibe in producing a track. Now, some of the tracks I basically produce are self-composed, but there's some tracks that I compose using samples of well-known, well-steeped songs in Jamaican music history. And this is definitely one of them. And when I play it, you're already going to know what it is. But I'm just going to give you an insight. So I'm going to turn my back to you, but I hope you can still hear me. In fact, I'll just basically turn sideways, get a little side profile thing going on. So I'm not sure if you can see up here, but I am using Cubase SX, ladies and gentlemen. Cubase SX. You know how old that is? And the system I'm using, ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, it is Windows 2000. Yeah, it is. Believe it or not. Still going strong. One of the most secure operating systems. Still. All now. So, here it is. So now, I'm not even going to tell you what the track is, but as soon as you hear the sample, you know what it is. Okay? So, here we go. Let's play it. Da-da-da-da. Here we go. So as you can hear, we got a loop running. Just got a loop running. And that's all it is. And it can go on for as long or as short as I want to. Okay? Right. So we got that clarified, right? So we got that as one track. Now, what I wanted to do was to bring some differences or make additions and embellish the track. And before I even go any further, I want to let you know who inspired me to actually do this. It was Pressure Bus Pipe. You know, he done a tune. What was it using? He done a tune and it featured the Baltimore rhythm track. And the way he sampled, well, the way the producer sampled the Baltimore rhythm track, it was like, yeah, I see what you done. I know what you did. So I'm going to try and do it in my way with Dennis Brown's Someone Special. So Pressure Bus Pipe, large up, brethren. Anyway, moving on. So as you can see, we got that track running. So I'm going to come out of that track and go into 3 other tracks that I've got here. Okay, which features none other than my brethren Ray Carlos, great saxophonist, man. Big up Ray. He came in and played on the session. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try and highlight what he more or less done. Okay, right. So let's just start it from here. Come on, Lloyd. While we're still young, mate. So you can hear him playing one track. Right, so we're going to come back to the very start of that sequence, and I'm going to put the other two harmony tracks that he played alongside himself. And it sounds like this. Right, so what we have now, as we build on the track, this is what we have. Just to give it a little swing, you know what I mean? We just don't want the loop just going dun, two, dun, dun, dun. Give it a little swing, you know what I mean? Put a little embellishment upon the thing, like a piece of seasoning, some seasoning upon the thing, right? Okay, so now we've got that established. Let's see what we've got here. Right, so there's other pieces of the sample that I used and EQ'd to put on top of the bed, which is basically the bass sample, which is, let me have a look and see what that is. Okay. So that for me was like the hook. You really do was like the hook for me. So I had to write around that. I wanted that in there. That just made sense. But in the song, it kept repeating, you really do, ooh. But what I done is that I spaced it out. So what you have with the rhythm, you have this. Right. Okay. And this is the vibe that I got from Pressure Bus Pipe, which I implemented in this track. So what he done, he actually took a piece of the track. Well, I say Pressure Bus Pipe, but it's probably the producer. I don't know. So forgive me, Pressure, if I'm not crediting you as the producer. But what the producer of the track basically done was take elements, a little element of the track, and just resampled it and repeated it. So where you have right, so I use the ding 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 ding, but out of that I use ding ding ding, and I resampled that and put that on top of it. So what you have is, right, so you have, yeah, it's very subtle but very effective. Here it goes again. One more time. That's it. Put in the right place. It sounds like this. With the sample, with the main sample. When I heard Pressure use that structure, procedure, technique on that track, his track, I totally got it. All right, so putting everything together now, where I put my harmonies. Let's have a look here. So what we got here? Please bear with me because I'm not going to try and zip through this thing and crash my computer for your entertainment. I ain't doing that, sorry. So anyway, here we go. So what we got here, we got two sets of harmonies. So the first harmony I would imagine would be you make me feel so good. You make me feel so rude. You put me in that mood. I cannot tell but to get to know you. Right. I made a mistake there. That was actually the lead and a harmony. Here are the harmonies right now. Okay. These are my harmonies that I put on. You make me feel so good. You make me feel so rude. You put me in that mood. Cannot help but to get to know you. You make me feel so good. Right. Kind of sounds disjointed, but if you put the lead harmony onto it now, it makes perfect sense. And I think you find it makes a well-rounded, balanced set of harmonies. You make me feel so good. You make me feel so rude. You put me in that mood. I cannot tell but to get to know you. You make me feel so good. You make me feel so rude. And there are my harmonies. And as you know, I voiced what I voiced on the lead vocal, so you don't really need to hear that because you know I can sing already. Let me see what else is there. Right, so within the sample itself, there are so many other things within the sample that I can pick out, which is, for example, the guitar. They all emanate from the same sample, but what I do is that I give them different EQs to just give them a little bit of separation, because if you just use the same frequency and the same balance of each cut of the sample that you put on, it just sounds like noise and there's no texture to them. So something as simple as a guitar, that's it. Dang, that's it. It doesn't sound a lot on its own, but when you add the track to it, you're almost recomposing the sample. So here we have it. Hear it? Dang. Didn't hear it? All right. I'll run it again. 3, 4. Right? So it kind of adds. It's just, it's just, you're putting a bit of salt there. Well, not as much salt. Salt is not good for you. But you're putting a little bit of Scotch bonnet. Not too much. It's a little bit to spice it up, you know what I'm saying? Right? And then obviously, you've got to put the crashes in, because if you just have the sample going, there's no sense of punctuation, there's no full stop, there's no commas, there's no semicolon, what have you. So you use the crashes to punctuate. Here you go. Hear it? And you use them periodically throughout the composition. Right. From the same sample, we got Dennis Brown singing Ooze. Here we go. Sounds like this. Yeah. There you go. Ooh. That sounded nice, so I'll put it in there. So here's what we got. We run those again. Just little touches. And if you put them on top of the bed, that's what I call it, we have this. also we have some tom-toms, which I got from my database of live drum samples. So we have these as follows. So as you can hear, as it's building up, as you're putting different things to embellish the track, it's not just sounding like a sample anymore. A lot of mistakes, well, the one mistake that a lot of people do when they take samples, they just have the sample and just have it going on and on and on and on and on. The key is to embellish it, okay? So here we have some tom-toms. There you go, just that. Nothing more. That's it. But the key is to actually mix it low in the sample so it sounds like it's coming from the same source. That is the key. So when you play the rhythm track or the bed alongside it, see, it's very subtle, but it sounds live. Sounds live because you got the originating bed, the live sample that's played underneath it. Okay? And just putting everything together so as to not mislead the eye them or misinform the eye. Just gonna play what you already know this song to be. So let me just solo all of these tracks here now. This is the original project for Get to Know Ya. And it's with that, I'm going to bid you guys adieu. Thanks for watching. Thanks for passing through. And for all the producers out there, keep doing your thing, man. Don't stop at where you are. Just keep going. Keep evolving as producers. You know what I mean? For those who are just down there, try and get your sound. Create your sound. Create your identity. That's what it's about. It's not just about cut and paste, even though I'm cutting and pasting, but I'm doing more than cutting and pasting. I'm embellishing. You get me? So it's with that, I'm going to bid you adieu with this. Sunday morning, 3:15, yeah. Deck 2, Dennis Brown, track 3, yeah. Onesie and the one Hennessy, yeah. Governor General, play this for me, yeah. Pull up. Begone.